Wassail, it's very early for me. I thought I'd come on early because I was half awake, half asleep, and I really enjoyed, no offense to anyone else, but running into a different set of subscribers by going on very early. So I thought I'd give it another go. Connect with some people in other time zones. So, I'm still unpacking, unfolding lots of these Andean energies around me at the moment. Oh, you're in France. That's amazing. Do you know what? Just gonna start with, before I go, Wassail Eve. I just want to know, I want an energy that Anna en française. Wassail, dark fire dragon. Wassail, blue resonant night. So Anna, if night comes out, it's because blue resonant night turned up. Oh, look at those two for your journey into France. Look, smelting, mixing everything up, getting some compassion back in your life to surging forward. So that's 17 and 14, 8 and 5, which is 13 frequency. Creativity is upon you now that you've moved. Bon. C'est très bon. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? It's great. Who else just came in that I didn't see? Wassail sacred seer, Wassail Navisha. So I don't know whether anyone might like to check. You don't need to actually send me any money, but could someone go into my description box and tell me whether my PayPal connection is a hot link? Because someone told me it wasn't working, and that might explain why no one sends me money anymore. So yeah, you don't need to send any money, but if someone could just tell me whether it is a hot link and does at least attempt to take you to my PayPal account. So I have coffee. And so I didn't quite manage to be patient enough to wait for my iPad to fully charge. So who knows? I may just vanish. It may just all go down. But let's get some stories. Wassail Plasmo. Oh, thanks, Eve. That might explain why for the last year no one's been sending me any money. So that might be nice. Right, I just want to check all of the decks. Give them a wee rifle. Whoa! No, I don't want you to turn over yet. You can't tell people things yet. We're getting you all ready. It's very early on a Saturday. I've just uploaded, and I think I got that right, secret subscribers only video to Liffruma.com. It's not available yet. coming with the next email. But I have to finish editing that today through the Twitterverse, because that's how I check that I haven't made errors. I shove everything through Kathy, and then it gives me a chance to see things with fresh eyes, because Kathy always puts fresh eyes on things for me. So, wassail again, Plasmo. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, Pluto. I'm feeling Pluto very, very differently at the moment. I'm also looking at Egyptian bounds. Oh, Eve, do you know Egyptian bounds? Have you done that? Because you often hit on. So bounds are degrees in a house around the zodiac that have a kind of a bound energy with another planet. So the opening bounds of, I think actually both Capricorn and Aquarius is Mercury. And I'm looking into that. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I can't take anyone's word for anything. I have to just feel in and find the energy that I truly find there. It's the only way I can do it. So, let's just rifle up the decks. Let's just rifle up the deck. Yeah, I know. So am I. I haven't looked them all up yet. I just started yesterday, Eve. So it goes, apparently, and I don't know even the source, so I need to check it all out. But it's, I think, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and then Saturn. But we'll have to see. I'll have to do some card experiments and feel into the energies. See what I like. Might not like it. Might make me own up. Wassail green pixie. I think I maybe should have gone for a wee before I started. I was just like, I woke up and I made coffee and I was like, let's just connect. So, let's just connect. Let's do that, people. Oh, Wassail, Silky the fairy. Oh, it does work, thank you. I'm so glad it works. It was getting a bit sad doing endless videos, never receiving any gratitude monetarily, and I couldn't work it out because I didn't feel like I'd changed my attitude towards the flow of cash. But now I can relax and feel that if people want to give me a wee donation, they can now. So that's all good. I just wasn't hot linked. It's also very difficult to find your link now. It used to be really easy in PayPal. Your profile came up and it was then, it just said copy link. Now you have to go and dive deeply into it. Wassail Denise. And it just seems a bit weird that PayPal make it difficult for people to link up and exchange money, since that's the purpose of their business. Still, I often think that a lot of the people working in Silicon Valley digital things, not sure they're always logical people. I think sometimes they have a gift for programming and typing code. So glad that's not me. And I'm not sure that they apply creative logic. Get yourself some 13 frequency electronic people. So let's just go into the Liffruma deck. Liffruma.com, as you know, is like the decks are coming from the printers very soon, and then we'll put the button up so that you can purchase them. It's very complicated. I mean, you make a deck, you do all the things, you prepare everything, and then the last moment, oh, Eve, you didn't need to, but thank you. Dealing with buying something and then finding a way to get it delivered all over the world is slightly complicated. Also, it's really complicated because where I am in Ecuador, no one wants to send anything there. So most of the postal services just don't do it. They're just like, no, we're not doing it. We can't be bothered because it doesn't work. I mean, the first Liffruma deck arrived in customs in Quito, and they kept saying, we need you to do something. I kept trying to do it. And in the end, they said they'd send the deck back to source, but it vanished. So there's a rogue deck out there somewhere. I'm going to pull this a bit nearer. It's not leaving me much room on the table. So, it's because I want to sit back like this. It's early. I might have to go back to bed. I'm completely fine. So, I would like everybody right now we're going to do some breathing. Just to connect to the energy, which I often call the genius loci, but it's the spirit of place. And I want you all to connect with the spirit of the place that you are in. So, let's just... Wassail, piece of music, for. So... Can't read anything, even with my new glasses. Yeah, I know, sending it back to source. No idea where it came from. This deck, in order to get this deck to me, it had to be posted to someone in the UK who I knew was the cousin of somebody who was flying into Quito. And so it went all the way across the Prime Meridian. They got it. They got on a plane, they flew into Quito, and then they sent it down to me in Manglor Alto. And I then took this deck across the equator. So this deck has got 0, 0. It's done it both. So look. Let's start this Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are in the world. Can I just say, they may not have post here, but I bloody love this country. Wassail, Ecuador. There's such a lovely, calm energy here. Tranquilo. So, I want you to breathe into the spirit of the place where you live, okay? I'm going to have to pull that nearer for a minute, hang on. Because I can't read what you're saying. And I'm really determined to read things. So, you're having eye issues. Maybe we'll get something about that. I will ask. So, let's just sit, lie, it doesn't matter. You don't need to look at me. while you're doing this, you need to focus your energy. And what I want you to do is I want you to pull down energy from the cosmos as you breathe in. You don't need to move your chest. I just want you to move your stomach out to breathe in. And then we're going to hold the count. And while we hold the count for 7, I want you to send that breath down, 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 down into the earth as an offering to the energy of place. And then as you expel the air, I want you to draw or allow the energy of place to come through your breath and deliver a frequency around you. So we're going to breathe in for 4. Then we're going to hold for 7 as we send that breath right the way down into the earth. And then we're going to release for 8. So let's all do that together. So it's quite hard here because I obviously have to count it with you. And every time I speak and breathe, there's not much oxygen. So let's just see what gives, or whether I have to cheat slightly. You should all be okay where you are. So, breathing in from the stomach for 4, and we're going to do the count of da, 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 da. So, together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 3, 4, and plunge it down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release. 2, 4, 7. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Plunge down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, breathe. 2, 3. Breathing in and plunge it down. Hold the breath. 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold plunge. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Plunge, hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So why 4 and then 7 and then 8? If you add them together, you get 19, and it's a very prime number, and it's a very magical number when you want to connect out of the normal world to energies behind the veil. So, I want you all now to think about the spirit of the place around you. And I want you to ask the spirit of the place around you to help you to understand the messages that are about to be delivered from the spirit of the place here to the spirit of the place there. Because all spirits of place, they're chatty, they know each other. They quite often gossip about the same troubles, we call them. The same sort of fact that we ignore them so often. That's a particular strong bugbear that does come through with them, is a frustration that we no longer honour the spirit of place. And in many places we have mishonoured the spirit of place. So I'm picking up that energy of places where we have had traumas and wars that we haven't yet let go of, and we keep celebrating, year after year, lest we forget to remember these energies. And this has a tendency to compress and stress the energy of place. The energy of place wants loving beauty, and we often keep pushing the wrong energy into space. So someone wrote something and I didn't get to read it. Oh, excellent. Yeah, I sometimes think that we're often told to kind of sit up in these very rigid kind of positions. And you know, I've always found, particularly very early on, with just lying down, and you know what, if you nod off in the middle of a breathing exercise, perfect. It's not so much a need for a meditative practice, it's more about just finding space to step outside the normal chaos and just focus on breath for a bit. It's often interesting to think of breath as you draw in breath, you're being fed by Yggdrasil. Your own personal Yggdrasil tree comes alive as you draw breath. You draw oxygen from the Yggdrasil tree, the tree of life. And then when you exhale, you give the carbon dioxide that the Yggdrasil tree requires to make more oxygen to give back to you. So it's a beautiful exchange. So, let me just have a sip of coffee. Wake me up. Yeah, absolutely. Mine too, Eve. They're not when I'm sitting up. They're not when I'm getting all wobbly or trying really hard to not have muscles shake because you're trying to hold something. It's when you just lie back somewhere really, really comfortable and allow yourself the privilege of drifting off, genuinely drifting off. And it's a good power nap practice. So, all these spirits of place connecting with all of you, what would you like to share with us? They don't want to share anything with us. What would you like to share? Oof. Oh, look, Wakand. This is the energy of reminding us about the natural world, reminding us about place, about the spirit of place. It's a watcher energy. So, you know, wherever you are, you're being watched. I don't mean by the technology and all the cameras. I mean by the spirits that are all over the place. They watch how we behave. They see how we present ourselves in the world. So, I'm going to read you this poem, and I want you to think about it. Translate it through the energy of the spirit of your place that you're connecting to. So spirit, familiar frequency that waits, watching for you to sight its presence. It does not walk with you, but gazes through the glare of beasts and bugs that eyeball you. When you eventually connect, it will walk with you, reach out to teach you, and then flee like the sun at dusk. This is your connection to the creatures around you and is the breath that connects to all the mystical fauna you've previously been. Cherish the lessons those unremembered lives have taught you. We are all creation's creatures. And it's interesting, this rune symbol, if you've seen some of my empath series I did when I was in Buenos Aires, I talked about when spirit made me witness little tiny midges all flying over a pond. And eventually, by seeing through the veil of their physical shell, their wings and their bodies, they all became these little zigzags of energy. And then Spirit asked me to see past the electricity of the energy to the very core essence. And that's when I saw them as tiny spheres of light. And those tiny spheres of light are pure, it's what I call Liffruma consciousness. It's pure elven light. It's pure loving energy. It's consciousness without physical form. And the truth of all of us is we're one great big loving orb. But the problem is in order to live in a physical body, we have to distort that energy so we don't appear as singularly loving as we might. And then I had to draw these orbs into my hand and allow my energy to merge with their energy until there was a sort of sense of them stopping, so that we became one with each other. And it's a really interesting exercise in how we think about oneness, because one of the things we do is we say we are connected. This card tells us we are connected to everything, but while we can then manipulate, and I was able to hold them, and now they're making me think of once when I was in Portugal and there was a fly and it was bugging me, because they're quite often spirit totem energies for me. They bring me messages, because anything can bring you a message. And I asked the fly to stop bothering me, and it wouldn't do that. It wouldn't walk away. And so in the end, I said, I'm just going to have to stop you for the moment. And I concentrated on it like I was taught. And I stopped it entirely. But then I thought I'd killed it. And it took a very long time to return its freedom. And that's part of the message that we have here. While we can be one with everything, Source doesn't make us one with everything so that we can control or manipulate anything. That's this energy of flowing freely, giving everybody the chance to express their own life path and their own freedom in their way, because that's the point of the Big Bang. Source was one with everything in itself. It was just one. And then it burst forward and broke into an uncountable number, so that it could explore itself through us, it, everything. And that's why energies are never permanent, because it's an exploration. Oh, look, 1310. I'm liking that number. The fact that we've got a 13 there. So let's see what else we're getting with this energy of being at one with everything, but allowing everything its own individual journey. Because that's really loving someone, is being there for someone, supporting people in their pathways and supporting people in their errors and mistakes that they feel they've made. Nothing is an error or a mistake. It's all part of a learning curve. But we have to not judge others as they journey. And then look, the 13s come out. Yo! Yo! So this is the yew tree, this is the sacral. Who are you deeply within inside your sacral? There's something about this saying that you're the sum of all your lives, all your parts, all your beings, all your future beings. You are the sum of everything, but are you able to see this? Wassail solus. So you are the sum of parts, but you're not the whole. You're a part of the sum of your parts. I wish they wouldn't do those things to me. So you are more than just you. We are all more than just ourselves. We are all connected to everything, but we can't remain connected to everything in a kind of source frequency because these little heads and brains, they can't cope with that much information. But you can, so they're saying, imagine your brain as a storeroom, 3 storerooms, one in the past, one in the future, and one in the now. And the problem is that we have a habit of filling up our past storeroom and not actually putting enough energy into our future storeroom. Our future storeroom is somehow distorted by patterns of the past breaking into the future storerooms, and you don't want that. They need to be separate places. So the past feeds into the now, the future feeds into the now. But with a lot of us, our anxieties mean that our pasts are feeding directly into our futures, and so both energies are coming back at us with the same repeating patterns. We need to clear out some of the delusions that we have about not having a beautiful, loving, wonderful future and make room for that so that that can feed back into the now and start pushing the old energies further back. So it's making new pathway connections, new bifrost frequencies, new energies to the seat of your soul. Oh, I'm getting really hot now. It was freezing when I got up. It's raining and everything. Oh, you see, look, this is almost it. There is Scald. This is Scald in the future. And here's the past trying to climb in and disrupt our future storerooms. 133. Those two came out, they hit the corner of the table like all these past energies trying to climb up, these naughty little swelgenesses. And then they got knocked back. They went down to the present. Oh, interesting. So initiate a new dance with the sun. So this hangman energy is, they're talking about this as being the present 12 frequency. Being caught hanging in a distortion of the past feeding into the future and coming back into the now somehow. That's what this message is about. And it's time to initiate a new dance of your life force, a new dance of the sun in the now moment. So to do that, you've got to somehow... you see, I was trying to say something then, but I feel I need to ask the cards what it is. You've got to initiate a clear out of your future storerooms. You've got to make space in your future lives. You've got to witness, bring in, draw in. Maybe you need to ask the spirit of place, what, if you've got a deck right now, which I'm sure lots of you have, just take a moment and ask your deck, what do you need to do to fill your future storeroom or to connect to future incarnations that will help to feed you into a healthier now, into a healthier 13 frequency. You've somehow got to draw your life force into the now, and your life force at the moment is still resonating in the natal. That's this new energy message that I'm getting quite a lot. All the while you keep seeing your natal energy as your birthright, you're not seeing your true birthright, which is ownership of your own destiny. I'm so warm. There's so much heat coming up through this Andean energy. I don't know whether other people are feeling warm because they're connecting with the spirit of their place. I'm really warm. I'm not taking my little tank top off though, because it's new and I like wearing it. So, what do I need to do? What do they need to do? I mean, you will get your own personal answers, but what's the best advice you can give us all right now? What's the best advice you can give us all about future lives? You see, that's really interesting. You've got to let go of the past. You have to cut off La Muerte, 13 frequency. If you want to bring yourself into the now, there's no place for the past in your life because it's bleeding too strongly into your now at the moment. And you almost need all this, behead the past. Wassail, green leaf. So 1313 is a resonant energy. Knight of Wands. So this is a Bloodcestry song. Almost let go of the ancestor tunes. Let go of the ancestor tunes. To celebrate the process. Excellent, Eve. Excellent. To celebrate the process. Because if you're celebrating the process, you're moving into the now. Because the process will unfold in the now. I often keep getting the message of connecting with future lives. But they're future lives you've kind of already done in some timey, soupy place. But you need to imagine lives that you move on to being so wondrously loving, kind, perfect, adorable, all the energies that you may not have experienced but have wished for. Imagine a life like that. Don't imagine it here, necessarily in the earth realm. Imagine it in other places. Imagine being a perfectly happy and comfortable tree growing for thousands of years, because look, the yew tree could be 9,000 years old, and even when the past has become toxic within the yew tree's existence, its insides can completely rot away and die. The shell is still there, and then it will send new growth up inside the trunk, which will then fill out and create a new pulse, a new centered inner energy. And somehow that's what I think you're trying to do here. Wassail the Promethean. Yeah, I think that's true. Look, the individual core, as I just was saying, that's exactly it. We are trying to redesign reality. So, if you're someone who avoids the news because you find it painful, Wassails and only. Try and look at uncomfortable stories around the world, and instead of saying, these are painful stories that I can't look at, why don't you just say, I give that story the energy to resolve itself lovingly. Because if you ignore what's going on in the entire world around you, you're rather selfishly not engaging with the oneness that we need to collectively create to change reality. You're leaving people out. So you we all need to imagine a world of fairness, true fairness, no bigotry, no settling down with energies that are unfair on others, no thinking, oh, I've made my life so wonderful now, I can afford to have a cleaner or a housekeeper. Their energies, you can have them in your reality, but they need to be a fair energy. And I don't think very often we give people true fairness. We need to be able to share much more kindly. I mean, I used to run a cleaning company. That's probably why it came up. And I used to clean Harley Street. And in there, you have lots of people. Harley Street's a very expensive part of London and always has been. And the people that lived in flats above the doctor surgeries, because they were enormous, like 7-story buildings, in an old, Georgian Victorian terrace style, enormous places. But these people were so happy to be above everyone else. So with cleaners, they expected cleaners to kind of melt into the background if they needed to walk past, but certainly never to make eye contact with them. And I always used to stand right in their way and say hello and ask them how they were, and they would literally tut at you. But I don't care. I've always had a rule in my life, which is, it doesn't matter how much money you have, we're all the same, we're all equal, and you don't have a right to diss me. I once was working in Switzerland with an artist, and she had a new producer coming in to help tweak her records and to add his name to her music. And when he arrived, I was being introduced to him, and he said to me, right, I need to get one thing very clear and straight with you before we start. You never speak in my studio unless I speak to you. And I said to him, you need to understand something. I'm leaving now and I'm going home on a plane, and you can explain to the artist why I left. And I went. Sometimes you have to have, what do I want to say, a principle of fairness. And if you can't stick to it, well then, you're never going to make a change in your world. So, it's gone very quiet out there, people. Not seeing any comments. Am I talking too much? Sovereignty. Sovereignty, interesting. Each person is entitled to their own sovereignty, but no one's sovereignty is more important than another's. It's equal sovereignty. Let's have a little look, see what you're saying, people. Oh, thank you, Zanoni. I'm hoping it works. It really would explain why I haven't had any money for about a year. It's just not had the link that works. I have had some money, don't get me wrong. There have been a few people who may have donated before, so they might have already think, and I am grateful, so grateful, because I haven't been getting any. The few donations that I do get mean much more to me when it comes to going to the supermarket. And also, I spend all my savings now trying to get this deck ready for all of you. So, we've got this 9 of orbs. We've got this idea of sovereignty for all, and equal sovereignty for all. And I want to say that you have to kind of think into these energies. We often do these things where we just pass by. Yeah, it is. You have to find your own. This is part of the difficulty. We have to find our own philosophical settlement on what issues are and what they mean within our life experience. What sovereignty would mean to me will be very different to you, but at its core, it's to stand in your own loving truth in the real world. Nines are a divine frequency. Orbs, coins, pentacles, gold, they are the physical world in most tarot decks. So standing in your truth individually, alone, and then when you're in your energy, you will find that your connection with others becomes more honest and more genuine. But there is a thing where, part of what I said earlier, I am sharing philosophical ideas, but they don't mean they have to become your truth. You have to create your own truth in your reality, and that's what this Liffruma deck is all about. That's why it has poetry attached, words to sort of challenge you, to make you sit up and think, how do I feel about that? Do I agree with this? What would be my version? And we're hoping on liffruma.com that eventually people will start to add to the resource so that each card will have a vast energy of everyone else's input. That's why it's our collective oracle, because it's the notion of us all coming together and explaining what each of the rune symbols means to us. Wassail, Steph. If you've not watched Steph's really good with Liffruma, so you could watch her channel, which you can just get her name from there, Evening Skies Reflections. So I'm going to Liffruma up here as we end this first little message. Come on, baby, light my fire. What I'm hearing is light your own fires. Ignite your own desires. This is really about you having the choice. So, Hodden Baldir, 2 keys, 2 locks to 1 door. We are all a door. We need 2 keys. So the keys are like, this deck is a key. And it will unlock things, but unlocking the other half of the door, the other side of the door, is down to you and how you rationalize or philosophize your own beingness. So they're saying, observe the Tesla. There is a 3, 6 and a 9 going on here. Oh, I'm glad you love your Liffruma, Steph. I love mine. And I can't wait for you to all be able to get your hands on it, because then we can really have some fun, because we can start to do some collective readings, and we can also, I can start to introduce you to some new ways of playing with cards, because there's a certain amount of reverence that has been placed over the years on tarot and oracle and runes and all the other ways of seeing things. It's as if you ask a question. If you've been watching my series at the Equator, you'll see something I've been doing there. You allow a bedrock or a quilt of energies to come out and exist in your space, and then you pick them all up and you move them. Because otherwise we don't have that sense of the free will to choose how we work with our destiny. You know, you don't want to be told this is the only way that something's going to happen. No, this is the energies that are coming towards you. How do you want to work with them? How do you want to feel into those energies? And some energies, sometimes the rune deck says to me, if you don't like an energy that's there, take it away and replace it. See what could happen if you put a different notion into that energy. Don't see something as, what's the word I want? not definitive, but kind of that energy. Don't see as inevitable. I'm really glad that you say that, Steph, because that was always the intention behind this. The runes are old symbolic language, and they really will always speak to us individually. One of the ways that I see this deck is it's like a magic spell book, like a grimoire, but it's not, the pages are all free, so that you can allow the pages to slip out into any order, and then their own energies will tell you stories translated through your frequency. Yeah, I did that. But actually, do you know what, Zanoni? I slept with them to begin with, and it was like a really wild ride. So I do keep them in my room, but I don't keep them quite so close to me, so that I allow my own energies to inform any dreams I have. And also, dreams are something that are being analyzed for me in many new ways. Not just, well, I don't know what I make of it, but dreams are beginning to take on a new frequency. It's interesting because Colette Baron Reid has the Dreamweaver's Oracle out, and I did one of my empath readings on Dreamweavers. Oh, do you remember, Eve? Because you sent a comment about it, and at that time it was the first moment when I was getting this new energy around dreams. And that is coming back, but I think Colette Baron Reid sort of describes them as architects, and that's really fascinating because I've always had these 4 Elohim guides, and I have always called them the architects of the universe. And what's really interesting, they're a very sacred group. But do you know what? They do love a laugh, and they do love a rude joke. They're not as pious. You know, we often attach so much piety to something sacred. Sacredness is full of joy. And so if anything has joy, it's about like crying with laughter. When you roll around the floor in an atremia, where you literally can't stand up because the laughter is so strong, that's the energy to me of sacredness. Pure wet your pants laughter joy. So, adaptability for growth. Absolutely, Steph, because nothing is fixed, nothing is permanent. Oh, thanks for signing up. Oh, Wassail, Danielle. Wow. Well, good luck with the channel. Let us know when it starts. Get a Liffruma on it. So, let's, I need a bit more coffee, hang on. Now that I've got that excitement coming over me. Yeah, we do really truly have to connect with our own energy. My energy is not your energy. It never will be. Apart from when we've all sorted everything out and we've gone through some dimensional shifts and we're all up there in the Elven Ring with Liffruma, we are all a hive mind then. We are all at one energy. But look, that elven ring energy that we are all part of, everything is part of it. You know, every molecule of even something plastic is part of that energy, regardless of how toxic we say things are. They're all still made of loving source energy. They may just be being misused in this reality at this moment. But they're all part of that energy, but they're just literally a wisp away from being source, being no longer just an elven ring, but being a complete oneness. And while that's a beautiful journey to be heading towards, source is really trying to hear each of our own individual stories. So I'm burping there, so I would say that's a truth. So, what other truth would you like to bring up for us to think about, to consider? I want to look at eyes. If there's any reason we can bring up an energy to do with seeing eyes. So I'm hearing something about how, you're exploring. I'm not taking that, but I was hearing that your eye problem is relating to something to do with you're coming close to seeing through the veil, to seeing things in a different energy, and there's a not an unwillingness, but an unknowingness as to how you achieve that. And so Spirit is saying, just allow your eyes to see what they see. There's something to do with the very edges of peripheral vision being something that will first create some kind of movement for you. So, there we go. So, what is the energy that the spirit of place wants to share with the spirit of your place? Oh, I put my finger right over it. Björk. Okay. I was holding that upside down. It's like, that's so weird. I was like, it's really back to frontly round. So there's something in this energy. Begin to look at the shadows in the roots, at the very core of your beingness. So the björk in most is the birch tree, the first tree to grow after a fire. But in Anglo-Saxon mythology around runes, it's the poplar tree. Now the poplar tree, what's interesting is the poplar tree has more than one way of, not reproduction, but yes, reproduction, of passing on messages, of moving through time to become something else, is the energy that I'm picking up here. So they have cotton casings that can float out with seeds attached, but they can also have, they send out roots, and all the way along their roots there are little kind of knobbles, and should something happen to the main trunk of the tree, it can regrow further away from the damaged trunk, away from whatever was causing damage, and it can regrow there. So it's a little like us. We need to move away from the traumas and the damage, from standing too close to the fire or standing too close to the light. I poured coffee and I didn't drink any. I mean, if you were standing too close to a blast furnace and you were beginning to burn, you'd move away from it. And yet somehow we don't seem to move away from emotional traumas that we go through. Instead, we kind of stand there in them and we keep letting those same energies hurt us over and over again. So this card is talking about sometimes it's essential to move, to grow something away from the pain of the past. And it's literally that, just move away from the pain of the past. Don't sit endlessly in that energy. Wassail, and it's an 18, it's a divine 9 energy. Begin a new growth, a new stability. Do you know, you were on my mind, Laura, when I was up in Rumichukuchu. There were this tiny little blue flowers that reminded me of speedwells. Wassail, Anthony. Yeah, there were these little tiny speedwell-like flowers. So, we've got this movement away from pain, away from emotional traumas of the past. Really moving away though. Truly moving away though. It's not easy. So, what do we have here? That's so weird. Those cards just morphed. They flashed a different energy, but then became something else. Look. Movement, growth, smelting. So there's tear is compassion. So this is have compassion for yourself. Be kind to yourself. Move yourself away. 1817. Take a step backwards. See, Zanoni just said that, I'm sure, in one of her emails. Take a step backwards from the energies that are encasing you, because there's something about these cotton casings. There's something that I know is a difficult energy to bring up, but there is comfort in familiarity, even if it's pain. And it's very difficult to choose to lift yourself past that. And I'm not trying to say it's easy or it's a journey we can all do at the drop of a hat, but it's something philosophically that we have to start to introduce, to know if there is an existence, and there is an existence where you are all part of the elven ring light, this Liffruma energy as we're calling it in the Anglo-Saxon word. Liffruma means source. It means the original energy of love. And so if we are all part of that, you have to be able to acknowledge that you moved past pain at some point. Now, do you want to move past your pain at the point of another life? Or do you want to say, I moved past my pain now? You might not immediately be lifted from that. And I know that because I've been on a journey to remove pain from my life, and it doesn't go away, but it is, it's about compassion for yourself and for your journey. And then this card of tear is the original proto-god, singular god, who eventually became shunted down to a lower order as Odin, Woden and other gods took form, because each generation requires its own understanding of divine. And so divine energy should really move with the ages. They should never be dogmatic. And so as you move and give yourself compassion, I think there's a really nice line at the end of this. So under the tutelage of Tia, all blows, all hammer clangs, and all strikes glow from the flow of love's breath he offers to all life. Wisdom is beauty and compassion ageless. So by being open to transformation, by being open to the compassionate the energies that compassion brings for transformation, it's bringing the all room, it's bringing the weird for me. It's saying, have compassion for yourself and anything becomes possible. Anything can happen. It doesn't matter what kind of boxed philosophy you currently have. That little box you live by that's got dogma written on all sides, and it doesn't matter whether you turn it this way up or that way up, it still reads dogma in the same direction. Smelt your box, change it. Put compassion in the place of the box. Compassion for you, and all possibilities become available. Yeah, look, Steph, we're all blocked in some ways. There are energies where I'm blocked, but I keep working on them. That's the point of this. We have to keep working. And maybe don't see your blockages as hurdles or walls, but merely as springboards to growth, because that's how I've started to see it. If there's a blockage, you can turn it into a trampoline and bounce off it. But you just have to decide to acknowledge it and then let it go. And it's hard because there's lots of them. Sometimes we remove one and we'll immediately land on another one. And that's all part of the fun and the journey of journeying through life. I mean, I don't think we're meant to become God here in this physical world. I don't think we're supposed to become so spiritual. I want to go back to that energy I just talked about, which is playfulness. Life is meant to be about joyful playfulness. And that's how we begin our lives as children. We are joyful and we have got playfulness. Yeah, I know some people have terrible childhoods, but in theory, that's the notion. We come in much more innocently full of love, and we allow life to victimize us, to be unfair. And all of those freedoms, parents, the adult world around us strips away from us. And we need to go back to that energy. I knew that was going to be the 1st of June again. I'm getting this energy over and over and over again. There's a really delightful tower. A charging tower that's coming around the beginning of June. And it has some kind of connection to Syrian frequency for those that need to look at a source for it. It has something to do with a different kind of light, bluish light energy coming down or feeding through us, opening within the core of the earth. I'm really not sure, but it has some kind of Syrian connection, 1st of June. So let me just take my glasses off and have a little read. Yes, we are. That's why we come here. Because when we're not in physical form, we are in a kind of elven light frequency, and everything manifests and materializes immediately. We're here to explore the beauty of human life. And that includes pain and trauma. And another of the energies that I get is when we first die, there comes a point when there are groups of souls that are all together who lived experiences together, and we go to some kind of crystal cave place, frequency, and we experience seeing or knowing almost in an instant the pains and the traumas and the joys and all of the things that we all go through collectively. And when we see the trauma of pain, human pain, there's something, and it's very weird, but there's a lot of relieved giggling that goes on. And I know that seems like a very uncomfortable energy, but in the bigger picture of the vastness of the cosmos, you learn to laugh at everything. I mean, I've always had this energy, which is, as we're going through huge changes at the moment that are going to be traumatic, we need to learn to connect with humor. And for the last few years, we've almost had the joy wrung out of us to the extent that we're not allowed to laugh. And it's important. Yes, absolutely. Shame is the biggest nonsense. It really is. We all need to learn that. It's Saturn, heart chakra, physical world, heart chakra, emotions of non-judgmentalness. If you are non-judgmental, you will never shame somebody. And if someone tries to shame you, you just have to stop them and say, you may think what I did was shameful. I know that it was a springboard to my growth so that I could become a better human. So don't judge me. Yeah, don't judge me, love me. That's really a message, actually. Don't judge me, love me. And that's what we should do with others. We don't judge them, we love them. Whatever they do. Even when people can bring us energies that are uncomfortable, we still need to find a way to love them. So what did I want to say about this 1st of June? There was this ally energy, but there's also this energy of something being stripped back to the very bones of a message. And that has something, I need to ask about this light. I'm going to put all the cards back, and I'm going to ask about this 1st of June Sirius frequency that I keep picking up. So let's start with Liffruma. No, let's start with a bit of coffee because it's getting cold. So I've picked up the energy of this Sirius sun frequency. Sirius has 3 stars, but it's also interesting that I often get this energy of 3 suns, and I'm never quite sure where they're placed, whether there's a cosmic sun, a core earth sun, and us as a sun, not including the sun that we see in our own solar system. But the other energy I get is like an absence of the moon. And I've never understood that. I mean, like a blank moon, like a no moon energy. And then I've had a frequency of 2 moons. So they could be to do with this connection to Sirius. It could be a place that has 2 moons or no moon, or it could be something that we experience here when we break through something, but something 6th. The 1st of the 6th, this Sirius energy, what can you tell us about this moment that you keep hinting at? Yeah, exactly. Children and animals don't know what seriousness is. Seriousness is merely a way of controlling behaviour by society. I mean, I laugh at a lot of things that people don't find funny. I learned that I learned that a lot because I laugh a lot during sex. Because sex is funny. And people don't like that. Because for a lot of people, sex is about being serious and being sexy. I'm like, that's just not sexy though, is it? Thinking of yourself as sexy is not sexy. Right, serious. Come on. Je suis très serious. It's back to this seat of the soul. This is series, not serious. But it's also frère. It's about the connection to coded fertility that already exists. There's some kind of code. Maybe this is when the series coding that she's up to starts to show itself. It's 22, it's a power number. So what else would you like to say about this series? It's definitely got something to do with coding. Soaked saturated seeds. The first threads of germination will plunge down on the 1st of June. So the wild water meadow flowers can sprout, shoot and bloom with the soul's new tune. See, I forget these poems. That's when the journey begins, Rad. The new journey begins on the 6th of June, the 1st of June. And Rippian, oh look, 550. You see, now that's interesting because when I saw the 5, I was like, it's the end of the eclipse, 5-5. The 5th of May is the lunar eclipse. And that's the Ceres eclipse tunnel. So the journey, there's some kind of journey of maturity that begins. It will start philosophically during the eclipse tunnel. So that's between the 20th of April and the 5th of May. But then after the 5th of May, going up to throughout the end of May, going into the 1st of June, that's when you're almost beginning to find the philosophical transformations that you need. And then on the 1st of June, that's when there will be enough watering of your emotions to start to send your roots down inside the earth. And then you'll start to draw in and find that you're transforming your DNA code somehow through Sirius and Ceres. Oh, wrong deck. I want this one now. 2. What else? Shamans. What else? Shamans. What else? So we got 2 as a bridge. Oh, now that's so interesting. These 2, this card was sitting across this. And it said, this is the bridge. This is the energy that bridges this journey. What is it? It's the High Priestess. It's La Madre de los Mundos. The moon. And I just said that this has got that energy of the lunar eclipse. There's a bridge that will open at the lunar eclipse to take you on a journey to maturity. And then, okay, so it's talking about there being an opportunity to face down your shadows almost, that lasts until the 1st of July. And this is the Ace of Emotions, powering down. This is like an energy of a blockage or a barrier on how you harvest your new philosophy. And so the month of June will become a very key maturing month. A lot of really profound new energy coming through. And then you have, it's interesting. So we have Aliado, the ally of the clouds, and the 10 of the earth. But this is like the 10 of emotions. This is like being emotionally sated. This is what's coming in. And I've got this feeling that has something to do with, because they're showing me October, and they're showing me it as my birth number so that I make the connection to North and South nodes moving to Aries and Libra in July. So there's something that we're weaving out of us, unfolding, unbinding, traveling away from, because this eclipse should really be solar eclipse in Taurus, lunar eclipse in Scorpio, but the solar eclipse is sneaking in early on the 20th of April as a solar eclipse in Aries, and that's sneaky because the nodes won't officially arrive in Aries and Libra until we get to July. So let me just get a few more cards on this. Oh, and then I would stop, but we've been on 81 minutes. How did that happen? How did that happen? How did that happen? Not getting another message. Oh, there it is. I got one immediately over here. Yeah, look, moving on from pain. This is a chance to move on from the past. This is the journey forwards in June 6 again. And then down here, oh, it's 2. It's interesting. That was the one I saw, King of Cups, which is going in with all of this energy of emotional stability. Reaching a point where you can materialize a new emotional wheel of fortune so that you can be a teacher of emotions, a beacon of emotions, a beacon of stable, loving frequency. And then this card has now become a kind of like reveal energy where it says it brings all these new opportunities to you in the real world. So that's what's coming somehow. The month of June is going to be fun after the Ceres eclipse tunnel. Then the nodes are changing in July. They're saying there's more to come. And look, the thing is, you don't have to do any of this in the timescale that it's saying. It's merely that's the point at which the energy of that opportunity first presents itself. Here. So, oh, does it have the black moon? I love a black moon. A black moon is 2 new moons in a month, and a blue moon is 2 full moons in a month. So I'm going to go and look that up now. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people. I'm kind of looking for it to get to 84:48 just for a moment, just so that I can feel that time mirror. Here it comes. 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. Mirror, time mirror. So, it's time to say bye-bye for now. I might do another one later. Who knows? So, Wassail, beautiful people.